I'll let you do the intro.
Okay. Okay, I'm live. I think.
Me too.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tapcaf Transmissions, the, dare I say, greatest Star Wars podcast of all time. Your words, not mine. Today we'll be discussing episodes 5 and 6 of the Bad Batch. I know this one was called, episode 6 was called Decommissioned. I think episode 5 was Rampage, right?
That is correct.
Rampage and Decommissioned. The titles haven't exactly been super inspired, I'd say. That's a small complaint.
They fit. Both of them have fit in all of my video titles each time. So that's what more can you really ask for?
So before we begin, I'm joined, of course, by my good pal and Tapcaf co-host Corey. How are you doing, Corey?
I'm good. It was funny last week. I was looking in your Discord, and someone was like, "Why does this Corey guy get a face reveal?" So I just get special privileges. I enjoy that.
Do you mean like why am I?
I don't think they knew about the podcast. They were just wondering why we were in the voice room alone with your camera on. Because I don't think mine was at the time. So.
Oh my god. Just sitting there, just like looking down at the camera, just like standing straight over it, like this is me.
Private face reveal, I think, is the term they used, but
yeah, that's for the $1,000 patrons only.
But yeah, we've got 2 episodes of Bad Batch to talk about today. Last week, we spoke about episode 3 for our 66th episode of the podcast. I think that was a really good show, so if you haven't heard that yet, make sure you
episode
go
3, by the way, like the episode 3 novel, not episode 3 of the Bad Batch.
No, we're actually, well, yeah, also not about episode 3 of the podcast. We haven't gotten to the point yet where we listen to an old version of the podcast and then do an episode.
No, not yet. But yeah, the episode 3 novelization episode was good. If you're just watching on YouTube or watching the VOD or the stream or whatever, you can get the podcast on pretty much every podcast platform. I just added a bunch of new ones as well that became available to us. So you can just Google Tapcaf Transmissions and it should be available on Spotify or iTunes or wherever else you get your podcast. And if you enjoy the episodes as well, make sure you take a second, leave a 5-star review. If you think we're worth the 5 stars, leave a nice comment. It really makes our day and helps the podcast really shine.
That'll get us invited to Star Wars Celebration 2025.
I've tried 2 years to get my celebration invites, never gotten them. Last year I got invited by somebody who had an extra panel slot, but this is the year because of the podcast. It's always like it's a 95% podcast host they invite, so yeah.
Oh well, maybe someday. We'll go to Star Trek Celebration. We'll see how we do there. But yeah, anything you want to talk about before we get into the Bad Batch, or just want to jump right in here?
I guess the only thing is we've got E3 coming up. Are you expecting anything Star Wars related?
I don't know. Did we get Squadrons at EA Play, or did we get it at E3? I think it was just EA Play, right?
EA Play is like the E3 though.
Yeah, but isn't it at the same time though?
Yeah,
okay,
it's their own show.
Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get Fallen Order.
Do you think we're gonna get Fallen Order this year?
I think we're gonna get it announced, but I guess it's not coming out this year, so I don't know. That'd be the only thing I can really think of, other than like some footage of some of the other stuff that's been announced as coming sooner, like Hunters probably. But I don't think we're gonna get anything like actually new announced.
Not even like a title reveal or anything.
I doubt it.
See, I'm not even sure we're gonna get anything for Jedi Fallen Order 2. I mean, it was really...
I'm not sure we're going to get it.
Yeah.
I hope so. Maybe.
It does kind of feel like, right, because it was released, 2019?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does feel right, but yeah, I guess we'll see. It's definitely possible.
I guess, what are we going to do? What's our episode next week? Are we going to do a Jedi Knight book? Are we going to move on to the Corellian trilogy, or... Where are we at now that we've finished the Callista trilogy?
That's a good
we've
question.
Done Crystal Star.
I mean, we do have... Let me just pull up Star Wars timeline. I think we do have, like, the New Rebellion to slot in at some point still.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me just open up the Legends timeline. I can't think off the top of my head. Let's see.
Because we're going into a pretty bleak period.
I mean, we're going into a bleak period, but we've also passed some real bleak stuff.
Yeah.
Like we got through the Callista stuff. I know you definitely don't like a lot of Jedi Academy, so we got through that. Next up, we have next up would actually be Black Fleet Crisis, right? And then New Rebellion, and then Corellian Trilogy.
Do you want to just go in order? Are we doing Before the Storm next week?
That would be next. Let's think about it. Maybe we can tweet something out because it might be fun to throw in another kind of because before we get into another trilogy, it might be fun to throw in like a one-off book or something.
Yeah, maybe something that's good. But we just did episode 3, which was good. So, or Revenge of the Sith.
Well, if you guys have any suggestions, send them to our email at tapcaftransmissions@gmail.com. And who knows? Yeah, maybe we'll take one of your suggestions because we're still not 100% sure. So,
all right. Well, we got 2 episodes of Bad Batch here: Rampage and Decommissioned. How have these fit in for you overall? Like, were any of these one of your new favorites?
New favorites, probably not. I think the one before episode 4 was one of my favorites.
So episode 3?
Was it episode 3? No,
it's the
one before, like the one before episode 5. I meant never mind. I couldn't remember what number Rampage was though. I think the one before Rampage was one of my favorites. It's hard because people are kind of, I think there's a problem with expectations for this show. Like people have been a little spoiled by Mando and other kind of, big weekly release shows, like especially with Disney Plus has just had Falcon and Winter Soldier and that other one. Why am I forgetting the name? WandaVision, where like they're like 6-episode shows. This is different.
Yeah.
This is a 16 episode season. I can definitely see them doing like 4 or 5 seasons of this. So it's sort of falling more into the Clone Wars Rebels style, where like there are a lot of just kind of adventure episodes, and it partially is the fault of YouTubers like us who like try to make each episode an event. But I think it's important to kind of set expectations for what the show's going to be like at this point.
Yeah, it's more of a standard TV show rather than a Kenobi style 6-episode event.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I'm trying to think of which of the last 2 I enjoyed more. I think episode 6 is probably one of my least favorites so far. I still enjoyed it, but it was basically just an extended action sequence, and we didn't get to see that much of Corellia, so that was probably one of my least favorite. But I still liked it. I've been saying that the intro to this show has been much better than the Clone Wars and Rebels, in my opinion. So, but yeah, What about you?
Yeah, these probably haven't been some of my favorite episodes, the last 2, but I think the show is starting to get into its groove, and I know it's something you've talked about a lot, but it still looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
like it's such an upgrade over what we got with Clone Wars and Rebels, which were both like really well animated for their time as well. So visually, the show is just fantastic.
It's really stunning.
But yeah, I do think some of the first episodes have been a bit better with because like they were still establishing what the stakes are and everything, so it was a bit more of the everything's still new, plot heavy stuff. And here we are getting a bit more on each of the characters, which is nice. But yeah, they have been a bit more just like full on action sequences that so far aren't going to be quite as important to the plot. Like it's just going off for your side quests right now. Like getting established with Sid is probably going to be pretty important for them in the grand scheme of things, and I do enjoy her as a character.
Yeah, me too.
But the individual jobs have so far not been in and of themselves that important. Like I'm sure the tactical droid brain, they seem to be setting that up as being an important thing for rebel cells to get their hands on. So there's some importance there. It's just the stuff the group is actually doing themselves that's not been quite as big a deal.
Yeah, so you're right. And I will say, too, I'm making the Clone Wars Rebels comparison. I do think the show is doing a good job of leaking in, like, kind of the overall plot. Like, in this episode, although a lot of it was kind of about this adventure, we do at the end get the mysterious benefactor, or not benefactor, mysterious client of the Martez sisters. Last episode, like you said, we had the kind of new step in the where I think a lot of the seasons kind of got established by episode 5, where like they are probably going to be working for her for a while, kind of doing these mercenary missions, and I'm fine with that. I just hope we get to see some like exciting locations.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was really excited that we'd be going to Corellia, but then we were just inside the inside the factory. But I guess I'll take like Ord Mantell looked really good.
Yep.
I really like Pantora. So the idea that we'd be going to Corellia, maybe we get to see more of
More
Cornet
than
City, it's
just
inside the factory. That was kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
there,
that was one of my bigger disappointments too, especially because like with Pantora, is it Pantora? Is that the name of the planet? Yeah, like they'd spend a lot of time. We talked about this. They spent a lot of time making the scenes look really good and stuff. Like the city was very well detailed and stuff. And I think it was one of my favorite parts of the series so far. So I was definitely hoping the same for Corellia, but instead we kind of just got, because Solo only gives us a very small part of the planet, where it's like the dockyards that and the industrial zone that Han's kind of bumming around.
Yeah, but you still get kind of a bit more establishment of the city, because you do see him go on that chase. You get a bit more of an overhead view as well, right? Coming in.
Yeah.
So like we got a good idea of what Corellia looks like, and that was like we saw Corellia in live action, which was not something I thought we'd really get.
They have a pretty cool. One of the rides at Disney is a ride through Corellia. It's pretty cool. The Millennium Falcon one. It's like you fly through Corellia and steal some stuff. Pretty cool.
So maybe I'm just like late to this realization, but is Pantora? I assume Pantora is supposed to be like a Pandora reference from Avatar, because it's
I don't know.
Planets with blue people.
I don't know. I mean,
is that just unintentional?
I mean, I don't know when Pantorans were named, because Revenge of the Sith came out before Avatar. And like where it was George Lucas playing a Pantoran, he may have gotten his own special page.
Well, was that name, were Pantorans like a named and established thing with?
I'm guessing he probably got a name.
Was it later?
Let me see. I'm guessing he probably got a name in one of the cross section books. Let's just take.
What year did Avatar even come out?
2009. Yeah, it came out.
Was it really just 2009? Oh yeah, then it makes perfect sense that the second one is still in production. Definitely, for sure, coming out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm gonna guess it's not a reference. Apparently no, it was named before in. Actually, I'm not sure. It says in the episode Trespass, maybe it was when it was. So that would have been the cloner. So who knows, really? Who knows? Yeah. If someone knows the answer to that, be interested, but it's possible.
Yeah. Are there any planets you're really hoping to see come up in one of these shows, whether it's live action or animated, that we haven't seen yet? That you think might have like a good shot at happening, because like we're not getting name a Seacot or something.
I'd like to see Kuat. That's like one that we've never seen in live action, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
And it's been referenced. I think it was even referenced once in the show, maybe. But yeah, never seen that. Kuat's one. I was really happy when we got to see Fondor in Battlefront 2. That was cool.
Yeah.
Coruscant again. And I don't know. I still remember The Mandalorian being pretty disappointed with how they portrayed Tython. It was pretty.
Yeah. I could see where they were going with part of it and what it was kind of supposed to be, but it was a bit disappointing not having some more of the ruins and stuff, or more of the temple. Yeah, maybe it's just like far enough in their backyard. But
what about you? What would you really like to see? Corellia would have been one of mine before Solo.
Yeah, same. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see Chilla, but maybe with it coming up in like the Ascendancy books, so maybe it'll get worked into something else, then we'll eventually get to see something with it. But just the way the underground ice cities get described when they do show up seem like it'd be pretty cool to see. But one of the things that has been kind of disappointing to me with either the sequels or Mandalorian is how there's some of these planets that are like so similar to other established planets. Like, oh, are we going to see Mon Calamari in the Mandalorian? No, it's it's a planet with Quarren on it.
Yeah.
And it looks like Mon Calamari, but it's not.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, like, maybe not for that example, but for other examples, whereas, like, it was initially, like, for Keef Beer and, like, or whatever it was called in episode 9, where the Death Star crashes. Like, I find it hard to believe that wasn't initially meant to be the forced moon of Endor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, it's just, like, at one moment, it's like, it's too different or something, or it doesn't work out.
Yeah. And, like, seeing huge city planet get blown up in episode 7, it's like, oh, wow, did they just blow up Coruscant? No.
Yeah, I still have people ask me, like, didn't Coruscant get blown up in the movie? And I was like, no, it wasn't, but I understand why you think that way. And it would have been kind of cool had it been Coruscant. Like, I would have been frustrated, or I would have been upset, but it would have been like a ballsy move.
Yeah.
I would like to see Alderaan as well.
Post Endor?
Well, post.
Do you want to have like a fight scene in the graveyard, like X-Wing?
That would be cool. But no, I'd be happy. I'd like to see, like, the shots of Alderaan in Revenge of the Sith are pretty cool, and there's lots of, like, Ralph McQuarrie concept art of Alderaan.
Yeah.
That's very different than anything else we got.
Yeah, and like we do get to see it a little bit in episode 3 at the end, but it kind of feels like it'd be Naboo again, but slightly.
Well, have you ever seen, like, the city, Alderaan city?
I've seen the
concepts?
map in Empire at War, so I assume I've seen it all.
Yeah, no, there's, like, actually a bunch of concept art for, like, Alderaan as a city, and it's very, very, it's kind of like, I think Ryloth, or not Ryloth, why am I forgetting the name of the planet? The planet from Rebels, why am I forgetting the name? Lothal, yeah. I think Lothal was somewhat inspired by the Alderaanian concept art, because that's where, like, the Killiks came from too, like those big rolling hills, and there's like a gleaming white city in the back. Yeah, so Lothal is kind of similar from what I remember to what Alderaan would have looked like. But yeah, that would have been neat.
Yeah, I think like Kuat would be my number one that we haven't seen yet, with Corellia out of the way.
I'm worried they're not going to do Kuat right though, like, because for Kuat you need to go all out and, like, make it a full ring world, I think, for it to be cool, or else I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, another one that could be interesting is Ethor.
Yeah, that would be
like
cool.
The herd ships, if they go that route. I'm not sure. Have the herd ships been, and the whole, like, sacred ground of Ethor, have that been?
I don't know if that's been canonized yet.
The same way in canon.
But that's actually a really good pick as well. See, that's like another one where I do kind of worry if they did Ethor, it would just be like jungle planet, and then, like, kind of the nuance would be lost. Like, for those who don't know, basically in Legends, at least, I'm not sure in canon, you don't go, like, the surface of Ethor is sacred, so, like, the Ithorians live in these kind of giant ships going around the planet. It's very cool.
Yeah. But I guess we should get back to the episodes themselves. So for the first one, we have Retrieving Mushi, who may or may not be Jabba's episode 6 Rancor. Do you think it's the same one?
I think it was intended. I think the writer probably intended it to be the same one, but that was probably changed at some point, because you probably saw on Twitter one of the writers was like, "Oh, it's going to be tough to watch Return of the Jedi or whatever now." But, like, the name for the Rancor and its gender had already been established, so it'd be kind of weird to ignore that. And then it kind of some hints later that it probably wasn't the same. I think it was probably intended, because just like Occam's razor, like, if there's a Rancor going to Jabba's and it's, looks to be like 20 years younger, then it's probably the same Rancor.
In Star Wars, that's called Occam's razor crest.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you think it was intended to be the same one?
I did initially, but I probably not anymore. But it's still, I like the idea of Jabba as like a Rancor connoisseur. Maybe he's probably got a bunch of them throughout the galaxy. This is his Ord Mantell Rancor. Then he's going to have some Tatooine Rancors. Like, he's got Rancors all over the galaxy. If
they did have the Rancor, like, if it was meant to be Jabba's Rancor, they would have needed the handler, the Malakili or Malak, whatever it was, Balak something. He's like the big sweaty dude.
Darth Malik, yep.
With the hairy chest that I always thought looked like my dad when I was a kid. Just because he was big and had a hairy chest. Like, that was pretty much enough. But yeah, it would have been kind of cool to see him in there.
Yeah.
But
I do something that has come up like every episode is that we are getting so many of these cameos, which like we got Rafa and Trace, we got potential Rancor, but also definitely Bib Fortuna.
Yeah,
we've had I think the cut one makes sense like in and of itself, so
yes.
I don't really include that the same way. Like, it makes sense that their clones running away, go to the clones who ran away. So like Rex, cut, absolutely. But Martinez sisters, well,
Martez, sorry, I made the same mistake while recording today, so I just want to let you
know. Like, I actually liked their arc in season 7 because I thought it made sense to have, like, for the episodes following Ahsoka like that, go to a family who has been affected by the Jedi in a negative way and show people who would have been kind of buying into the Jedi are evil thing for reasons other than just pure propaganda, because they had actual experience with them and showing how detached the Jedi got. And I thought the episodes were valuable from that perspective, even if one of them was literally just starting and ending in the same place and did absolutely nothing narratively.
Yeah, no, I was the same way. I quite liked the arc. It was fun to see a different side of Coruscant. Even like people are like, oh, it's the last, like, it's the end. Like, do you really need the arc? And it's like, well, it is also the end. Like, it's our last chance to see Coruscant this way. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Like, switch that one episode out, great, but like I think that arc did something that was necessary there. But I don't know that they were necessarily needed here, especially like setting them up as these forming a rebel cell working directly for someone who is like either Ahsoka or Bail or something. It's
well, I didn't pick up on this, but they say he when referencing the mysterious AI.
So the person probably isn't Ahsoka that they're talking to, but it might be like Ahsoka and Bail working together. Because wouldn't R7 have been with Ahsoka?
R7 was blown up, though, in the season finale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is Bail just like collecting Jedi relics and?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say what's up with Bail. He's an interesting character. I really hope it is Bail, and I hope it's Jimmy Smits coming back. I assume they could get Jimmy Smits. Maybe not, but he does lots of television.
I mean,
work.
they got Ian McDiarmid, so.
Yeah. Have they used Ian McDiarmid for this, or?
For Bad Batch, I don't think so, but I think like he was in Rebels. For
then they went back and
Ezra, right?
For a while, he went back and
used Sam, but
yeah, they used Sam, and then Ian actually went back and redubbed them, and they were the episodes were re-released, I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Sam or Ian, because I think so far the only Palpatine lines have been from Revenge of the Sith, maybe in this show, because there's Execute Order 66 and the Attempt on My Life bit. But I think those may have just both been clips from the movie.
I've seen a couple complaints since the episode of like, oh, didn't they know people hated them in season 7? Why are they back? But I think people just don't realize how long these production cycles are.
Yeah.
Where, like...
I think people also don't realize how little Twitter matters.
Yeah, like... But, like, just... Even the Fennec Shan stuff, they were working on her character for the Bad Batch before, so these episodes were in production before anyone ever saw her in season 1 of The Mandalorian, let alone season 2.
Yeah, that's right. The concept art revealed that because it was dated. So yeah, that's everything is kind of long process, and yeah, I mean, I do think the Martez sisters are probably going to be a relatively big part of this show as well. Like I imagine they're gonna and then maybe not a relatively big, maybe overstating it, but I do think that they'll appear again in a fairly significant way for at least a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
I
do like how this episode opens with like literally training Omega to be a child soldier, not just okay, you need to learn how to defend yourself. No, this is how you be a good soldier.
Yeah. terrorist, child soldier, freedom fighter. It's a bow and arrow though, so it's okay.
Yeah, Star Wars covers all the bases on unethical.
It's a bow and arrow that's
combat,
essentially a gun, but whatever.
It's not essentially a gun. It's just a harder to use gun.
We're gonna give you this so you can't kill that many people.
We're going to give you this so you have a higher chance of hurting someone you don't intend to.
Or burning your fingers in the midst of battle, maybe.
Yeah, like Rafa taunting her when she's got the bow pointed at her, like, you can't hold that. It's like, yeah, she's going to shoot you. If she lets go right now, she shoots you.
Yeah, and they also almost shot that lady in the bar. Like, very irresponsible.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've got
the
it
fact
on.
that they were allowed to keep doing that, that's questionable too.
Hopefully on low power settings, but who knows?
Yeah, in front of the door too. So anyone walking in there is going to get shot, as they show at the start of the episode. But, yeah, I don't know that there's a huge amount with the Rampage episode to really.
The fight was fun with Wrecker and the Rancor, but
we are seeing a lot more of like Wrecker with his chip issues coming up. So
yeah,
I was skeptical that it would be turned into a big thing, but I think it's clearly going that direction. But I don't think it'll turn him into the same kind of plot as Crosshair, which is what I was afraid of. So
yeah, I was skeptical too until because he did get hit a few times, and I was like, okay, that could just be like physical comedy. But then when he openly complained about his head hurting, I was like, okay, like it's obviously going to happen. My guess will be that, like, this is my prediction, and some of it I read from others, so I'm not taking credit for it. But obviously, the chip is something's going to happen. Like it's not been solved yet, just because he walked it off this episode. I think that's probably why they'll look for Rex, because they'll have known that Rex didn't go, to the Empire or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we see them visiting Venators in the trailer. So I'm wondering, or not, I'm wondering, this was somebody else's idea. Sorry, I don't remember who. Maybe they're going to the Venators because that's where Rex got his chip out, in one of the Venators' medical centers.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Is there anything special about the medical centers? I guess it would be like having the clone medical stuff specifically.
Yeah.
But
that's just like the only one Rex knows how to use, or they're fully automated, or like maybe the Empire's got shit locked so down that it's
So what do you think would be the trigger for Wrecker to be aggressive towards someone that he shouldn't be? Because like, is it going to be that because his chip reactivates, he wants to capture Omega? That seems unlikely. If it just reactivates when he's around his friends, I don't know that that's necessarily going to be a huge thing. I feel like it's got to be a Jedi, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I haven't really thought about that. It could be like a Jedi, or it could be he's in the presence of like an Imperial officer or something.
Yeah, maybe Crosshair saying, "Hey, you've got a Wrecker."
Yeah, that's definitely something that could be happening.
Then it's instead of being a fight between the Bad Batch and Crosshair's misfit crew no one cares about, it's Crosshair and Wrecker versus like. But then it's like it's Hunter, Tech, and Echo, and what a shitty fight that would be for them. Like,
yeah, Hunter hasn't taken a single W all season. Like, he got his ass kicked like by Fennec Shand. He got knocked out by the Zygerian slavers. Like, he's been having a rough go.
I think he got a lot done this episode, and was like clearly showing him outclassing basically everyone else,
other than
including
Wrecker.
the other members of the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Well, Wrecker was knocked out most of the time and was very afraid of swinging across the lava, which I would not do that.
To be fair, that would be hella scary. Yeah.
But compared to what Hunter was getting done.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. They've done a good job, though, I will say, of developing, I think, primarily Wrecker, Echo, and Hunter, I think. So really, that's only leaving out Crosshair and Tech. But I think that those three, especially, like, Echo's gotten a lot of little moments the last few episodes. Wrecker's kind of...
Is there an Echo in here?
Yeah, that was good. And Wrecker's kind of been having lots of good moments, just kind of generally, but especially with Omega. So, yeah, like, they've kind of already moved out of their stereotypical action hero bit, which I thought might take longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like not fully,
like,
but
I feel like a lot of Wreckers has still just been the like physical comedy, but he has had a lot of moments with Omega specifically that I feel like have helped him a lot. And I don't know that I'm quite there with Echo yet
fair enough.
either. Like I think it really has just been Wrecker and Hunter
Fair
that
enough.
have been developed into actual characters. I think Tech and Echo still need a little bit more. We got a little bit more with some of them, but usually it's just doing their job. Like Echo's big moment so far for me has been when he was leading the droids out of the workshop. And other than that, I don't know that we've gotten.
I guess for Echo, I just think like
him.
he had some in episode 4 where he was like babysitting Omega when they were together. I thought there was something this episode, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, you're not wrong. I guess he had a conversation with, but yeah, give it more time, I suppose, because they do have a lot of characters to handle. And I am also wondering whether at some point we're going to see a Crosshair episode.
Another one, yeah. I think it'll still be. I think we've got to get at least one more.
Yeah,
this season before he comes into actual
for sure.
conflict with the group.
I agree.
Like he's definitely going to be in more than one, but as far as like Crosshair focused before he's directly fighting his buddies.
Yeah, like the end of I can't remember if it's episode 2 or 3 where it was all about Crosshair, and like it ended off with him sitting on the bed and like kind of some internal conflict. Like I think that left kind of interesting opportunity. Like he seems like his story will be interesting because obviously, yeah, he's a jackass, but maybe there's something else kind of underneath the surface still.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so we've still got a fair amount, like even 6 episodes in now, we've got a fair amount from the trailer that hasn't been shown yet, which is kind of surprising to me because usually with a lot of shows, you kind of.
I mean, it's not that much though.
We still got what 2 planets that haven't.
Is it that many? Okay, fair enough.
Because we don't know what the like the ATTE kind of Naboo looking planet is, and we don't know what the Venator planet is, and those seem to be like very late game things now. Whereas it seemed like maybe they would have been some earlier.
But I mean,
stuff.
that too could also be that could just be 2 episodes, you know.
It could be, but it's still by that point.
Somebody on Reddit actually did a compilation of all remaining footage shown in any material before this episode, so not including this one, and there was only a minute in total.
But there was only like 2 or 3 minutes of like actual trailers, right? Too, because there was one that was about a minute long, but it was literally just the training sequence. Like,
yeah,
there wasn't a huge amount of promotional video.
So I'm looking at the trailer, and it looks like the only 2 planets that haven't been covered are Braca, the planet from Fallen Order, and what people are guessing is Raxus, the Separatist homeworld. I think it probably is Raxus. I can't remember if that's what that's the one I think we initially thought was Naboo, but there's a shot of what looks like the Separatist Parliament or whatever. All right. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I do like I think Disney Plus has actually been doing a really good job, like especially with Mandalorian season 2, of like keeping most of the major marketing beats to the first like third of the show. Like I remember with Mando season 2, it was like 3 episodes in and we knew like nothing that was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even the stuff we've seen that like hasn't come up yet wasn't really giving too much away. So
yeah,
I don't have a problem with it as much as I normally would with stuff showing like late season things. But
yeah, I'd say the biggest spoiler is it looks like we're gonna get Fennec again, which I don't think is really surprising. And like who knows, like with that shot too, and like with various shots that we've seen so far, they could just be unused shots. Like there's one on Camino that looks to me like it's probably just an unused shot from another episode, or it'll just be like a shot of stormtroopers walking.
Yeah, maybe like at the Crosshair episode, we'll just get some establishing shots with that. But...
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm excited. Well, if you were just to randomly guess, what's your episode 7 gonna be? Like if you're just gonna, based on gut feeling, what do you think the next episode will be about?
So Mushi feels really grateful to Bad Batch for rescuing him. So he actually joins them and has a job for them, where he's lost his favorite stuffed animal, and they got to rescue that. And it turns out the stuffed animal was being held by Darth Vader because a mission that Obi-Wan and Anakin went to on Dathomir when they were hunting for Savage Operas, like that's where Mushi originally would have come from. So it's just a whole thing, and we get a scene with Darth Maul fighting Mushi in the Bad Batch. I think that's next episode.
I don't think I can beat that. That seems pretty likely.
Yeah. I hope we don't get too many more episodes that are just like side jobs that the Bad Batch don't know the context for.
Yeah,
like one, but
I
want them to start like getting an idea of what's going on beyond just, oh, we were told to go to this place and maybe it's important, but we don't know why it's important yet.
Yeah, if I were to guess, I think we might get one more of those, and then I think we'll probably have a run-in with the Empire. Maybe even at the end of next episode, we'll have a run-in with the Empire.
Right now, they're just doing this stuff because, one, they need money, and two, they were hoping to get information, which we're now 2 episodes deep into them hoping to get information about what Fennec's doing, which is almost half the season we've seen so far as of next episode, if there's another one. So,
yeah,
I do hope that's not.
Like, yeah, I think next episode may be the sort of carrot dangling moment where they're like, yeah, this is what, like I'll give you your information, but you got to actually do this last one for me because you messed up last time.
Yeah, like maybe if next episode ends with her saying, Fennec was hired by
Boba Fett,
Namaste or something.
Yeah, did we talk about Boba Fett? Do you think Boba Fett's going to be in the show?
I hope not.
I think he's going to be, but yeah.
He's probably going to be. I hope not. Like maybe it'll be used to establish some sort of pre-existing relationship with him and Fennec, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think I didn't really have that much more to talk about. Did you?
No, we do have a couple emails if you want to try to answer some of the ones that are related to Bad Batch here.
Yes, let me just pull them up on my phone. Okay.
So, the first email is from Jeff. So anyone who wants to get in a question for any of the episodes, you can email tapcaftransmissions@gmail.com. That's TAPCAF transmissions@gmail.com. And Jeff says, so Luke killed Mushi the Rancor in episode 6, not the current state of Rancor lore, but wouldn't it be awesome if Filoni recast the crying Rancor handler as Wrecker?
I hadn't thought about that. Maybe.
It's probably not Mushi, but I'd be okay with that retcon if we get like, because we've got the guy in episode 6 kind of retconned as Rex. We could have another episode 6 character be another clone. So I approve.
This question comes from Mark. He says, hey, I know it's not the Thrawn series, but do you think we'll see a young Captain or Commander Thrawn? I would love to see him take on a rebel cell. The Bad Batch is happening. That earns him the Grand Admiral promotion. I think the biggest problem with that is it kind of would break the lore a bit. Like, we know kind of exactly how Thrawn, kind of when he went into the Imperial Academy, et cetera, so I don't think it works. Because he gets in pretty... I can't remember when exactly he joins the Empire, but it was some time from now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would be 15 years after this, I want to say. Maybe not quite that long, but it's significantly after this series. So, yeah. So
today's the next question, is from Chris. He says, in your opinion, what is the size of the clones present within the Grand Army of the Republic? Oh, this is a tough one. This is a contentious one. In my opinion, it is the low billions, a number, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, they actually give a number in the movies. 3 million with 3 million more on the way, I think, is what they say. Which is
3 million units.
Yeah, and they've went out of their way to clarify that units does mean individuals, but obviously
in some places they have, in some places they haven't. If you look at the actual establishing shots in Attack of the Clones, I'm pretty sure you can see more than 3 million clones. Like, it's a much smaller number than it sounds like, and this is a galactic scale war where we see multiple warships that are fully run by clones. The number just doesn't work. Any number in Star Wars is usually just bullshit, but I feel like the bullshit number needs to be significantly higher on several orders of magnitude.
Yeah, like the American Army alone has like, I think a million active and reserve soldiers. So,
yeah.
Including like the National Guard and stuff. and that's one planet, one country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be, like you said, like probably 4 orders of magnitude, at least more than that. 6 million or 3 million is just not enough. But Star Wars often struggles with scale. We talked about that early on in our X-Wing reviews, especially.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
I think most of the other questions on email are about non-Bad Batch or non-Clone War, or not directly related stuff. So we'll cover those on more of the regular episodes about other books.
Okay, I've got a question. When we see, and we eventually do see, whether it's Vader or Rampart or whomever, what kind of capital ship will they be commanding? Gray Venator, regular Venator, Star Destroyer? What do you think?
I think at this point in season 1, if we see someone with a capital ship of any kind, it'll be either an Arquitens or a Gray Venator.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because they totally could, if they wanted to, go with an Imperial based on at least the Legends lore, but based on Revenge of the Sith alone, I think you got to go with Gray Venator.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird how the Arquitens has had such a.
It's used for everything.
Yeah, you even got a Lego set. Did you see the new Lego set?
I have not.
Yeah, so it's got a Lego set for Gideon's.
For Gideon's, okay.
Yeah.
Gideon's is different than the other Arquitens as well.
Yeah, there are some differences for sure. So whether I'm curious whether that'll ever. I mean, I assume eventually that will get addressed in some visual dictionary. We'll call it the Arquitens Command version, or Arquitens 2, or call it just a completely different ship.
The Favreau class Arquitens.
Yeah. We were supposed to get that. It was a visual guide. Class? No, a visual guide for Mandalorian, but it was canceled.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. Was
it canceled or was it just delayed?
I got my money refunded because I pre-purchased it.
Okay.
Yeah. I assume it will eventually come. There's been the rumors of some mix-up with whatever's going on with Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Whether that's related to No Cara Dune. I can't see how that could possibly be related to No Cara Dune. She's not she's very easily replaceable. No disrespect on that sense, but you can replace her.
Yeah.
She's New Republic female jump trooper. I don't know.
Yeah. We got one more question from Chedring, which is, how long will Clone Phase 2 armor be the standard infantry gear post Clone Wars here? We did see at least one kind of new armor type come in. So I don't know that even by the end of Bad Batch, I think Bad Batch will involve at some point the transition to Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that as my big prediction. Probably season 2. But...
Totally. I think at some point, just generally, there's going to be I think there's going to be a point where the Empire comes and shuts down Camino, and I could totally see them using proper stormtroopers for that. I think my guess is that they're doing the test to see how those stormtroopers can operate under Crosshair. I forget what the name of that project is, but I'm guessing eventually it's going to be taken to a much larger scale. We don't need clones at all. We can just, we're doing fine with our conscripts or volunteers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know
especially without an active war to fight.
Right. By Fallen Order, which is that's quite a bit later. That's I think 15 or 14. So 4 or 5 years or 3 or 4 years they're fully at stormtroopers. So
yeah,
the change doesn't take long.
Yeah. I do think for just even thematic reasons, we'll see at least the start of that. We'll see them shoot a stormtrooper at some point.
Yeah, I can kind of see that be the one of the big, because people are wondering especially when the show is announced, okay, what's the story going to be? And I think it's definitely going to be the demise of the clones will be an arc. Yeah.
Well, an arc, a commando, they're all probably going to be going down.
Yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts for you?
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm really looking forward to E3. We'll probably be doing something for that live. if it turns out well, we could perhaps upload it as an audio podcast, but I'd say maybe not as well.
Yeah, I don't think we even uploaded the stuff that was talking about Star Wars before, the Squadrons one. I don't think we put that up.
Yeah, maybe if there is Star Wars news, or if there's a lot of like interesting news, we could do like just a discussion episode, which could be kind of fun.
Maybe get Charlie or another more gamer guest on. There's
been some rumors that there will be they'll drop a beta for Halo, and if so, I won't be doing anything but playing that. But in the case that doesn't happen, I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, Infinite,
or the new map for Halo 3. Is that in?
Yeah, that's it now. Yeah.
Oh damn. Yeah, the second one, not the first one. I played on the first one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure both are in now. I'm not sure if both are in matchmaking now, but I think they are. There's like some cool new updates too. Like there's new energy swords and new elites and stuff. The next update's like elite focused, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will. I guess we'll tweet out if we're going to be talking about Black Fleet Crisis next week or a different standalone novel earlier. But yeah, so you can follow us on Twitter for that, for announcements on the show, or you can just watch and see when it gets scheduled if you don't intend to read Black Fleet Crisis or whatever else we're reading. But thank you for watching. Remember, leave a review on whatever podcasting platform
Please leave a review.
We'll read them if you use the term
Harry,
really?
Okay.
Okay, but no, you already said it.
Okay.
Use Harry in your review, and we will
use the word
read
stinky.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Well, goodbye. Crack myself up.